speaking of problems, I got problems with the way the Phillies season ended. We all do, well, except for Kyle, who's making excuses for them. But today, he was the first time we're going to get a chance to hear from Dombrowski, hear from Topper, and really specifically Dombrowski is the one that I need to hear from in terms of the changes they're going to make to this team to try to get over the hump. But, my feeling as we go into the offseason and we start this thing and the free agency is going to begin for Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto and Ranger Suarez and Harrison Bader, assuming he opts out when the World Series ends. Those guys are going to become free agents a few days after. My assumption right now, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I sound ridiculous in a month. But my assumption right now is that they're not going to make meaningful changes, that the Phillies are going to do some sort of thing they've done the last few years, which is run this thing back, which is say, hey, we were this close to beating the best team in baseball. We won 96 baseball games. We won the NL East in back-to-back years. Let's run this thing back. A few maybe cosmetic changes, but nothing serious. I expect the Phillies to go all out to re-sign Kyle Schwarber. I expect them to try to bring back JT Realmuto. I think both those guys will be here next year. I think they're probably going to let Ranger walk and think that their pitching depth with Andrew Painter coming is about to fill the needs here.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to maybe import a couple of little things. But next year, I think this team is going to look very similar to the way they did this year. They're going to sell us on 96 wins, full year of this, full year of that, Duran for a full year, and away we go. I don't expect meaningful changes. Hugh, I'd be up for them if they could import a star and add more to this team. I am totally up for that. There's some big-time players out there in free agency. Kyle Tucker, maybe Cody Bellinger. I'd love to add more, but I don't expect it because of their track record, and it already started with Topper. They made no change after I thought a manager had a tough playoff series here. 215-592-9494. Hugh, are you expecting, meaningful changes to the Phillies this offseason?
I am. I think that when you hear some of the, not reports, but some of the reckless speculation.
Your favorite.
That has been out there, I think that you have to because you ran it back last year.
Yep.
And you expected different results. Now, I will say this. This is eerily similar to the situation the Dodgers were in because it took them a long time to break through. And their manager being there for a while, and I know that there probably was some rumblings about getting rid of him.
There were.
But they backed him. They backed the manager, but they I guess you could say overhauled the roster a little bit and went out and got some big names started. They got a lot of big names.
Well, just before you finish, I think about 2 years ago, they were swept in the first round, right? Mm-hmm. And Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts had bad series. Kind of similar, you could say, to Trey and Bryce, right? You know what they did? They said, we're throwing $700 million at Shohei Ohtani. We need more, and now look at them now.
Yeah. This is a tough one because last year feels like it was that time when you talk about what the Phillies did. They ran it back. They didn't make any really major moves. This year feels like they need to push all in. It feels like they need to make some changes. It just feels that way because I feel like this fan base, it's going to be tough to make them buy in if you just keep everything the status quo.
Yep.
I just feel like that's going to be the case.
Well, it will be. We kind of had some of this season as just talking about the team every day. There was and that's why we created the plays before the season. There was a sense, I felt it in March, early April, where people were like, wake me up in October. Well, it's going to be like that even stronger next March and next April, spring training into the start of the season, if they don't make changes. And again, I want the team to get better. I'm not looking to get worse. I'm not looking to tear the team down. I want to take the next step to win a World Series. But there's also the other part of this that I hope the Phillies recognize. Just because you keep running it back doesn't mean the results will continue to be successful. They've had more wins every year, I think, for 5 straight years, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's probably going to end at some point. These guys are older, and I think they need an infusion of something different. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that means necessarily moving off of one of their stars to reinvest the money, or it just means adding another maybe younger star. Again, Kyle Tucker's a free agent. He is one of the best all-around players in baseball. If they took the same team and put him on it, I'd be excited because that would be adding another big-time player. Or if they go out and make a trade and they move off of one of the guys they've had here for a few years to kind of remake the team, I'm good with all of that. I need to see that. 215-592-9494. Ruben Amaro Jr., he first started talking about this on Saturday on his show here on WIP with Devin Kenny. This from the Phillies show. Todd Zolecki and Jim Salisbury along with Ruben. Listen to Ruben Amaro talking about what he thinks Dave Dombrowski might do this offseason.
I heard a rumor the Phillies are going to try to move one or more of the big contracts Any details or guesses? That's from JR Adler 11 on Threads. You kind of talked about
I
this.
must have created the rumor. I created the rumor. I'm a
rumor starter.
I just opined that it is a possibility, and it is the duty of the general manager to explore all possibilities. And I think that Dave Dombrowski, I just have a feeling that Dave Dombrowski will keep his mind open on everything to try to change the mix a little bit so that they don't necessarily, quote unquote, run it back.
All right, so this is Hugh. This is 2 times in the span of a week on 2 different platforms, right? One his podcast, The Philly Show, and then 2 here on WIP. I guess one, then the other, where Ruben has said something to that effect. Right? He thinks Dave Dombrowski will keep his mind open. Hugh, as we discuss meaningful changes, if they move off one of their big-name stars or explore and listen to trade offers for someone that is here under long-term contract, that would count to me, right? That's a meaningful change because that means you're shaking up the core of the team, and you're also potentially freeing up a lot of money, right? Like guys that are under big contracts have a lot of money tied to them. So if they moved off of one of those guys, that would free up a lot of money for them to go out and spend it elsewhere, right? And remake the team. Maybe it's 2 or 3 players for that money, or maybe it's just another one for one. But Hugh, I find that interesting that Ruben has now said that twice. He believes Dave Dombrowski will really keep his mind open this time.
Yeah, and I think you have to, because you look at the team and the way it's constructed. The thing that I keep thinking about is that regardless to how you feel about the Dodgers and how phenomenal their pitching is, the problem has been the same the last 3 seasons. The bats have gone cold. You haven't figured out a way. Your biggest stars don't show up in the biggest moments. Like that has happened since I've been here. I wasn't here for Bedlam in the Bang.
Yeah, you missed the best one.
I missed all of that. But since I've been here, the thing that sticks out to me and that resonates with me is the fact that you got a lot of guys at the top of the order that are going over. The fact that, in that Arizona series, Rojas got a lot of heat for having the bat on his shoulder. And, you got all those other cats at the top of the order that when you look at they had a bunch of goose eggs. Could have boiled some eggs and made a egg salad, when you talk about what they've been able to do. So that's the thing to me that needs to change. You need to find some guys that maybe not so much making a whole lot of money, but will do what needs to be done when the game's on the line.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. And look, I want meaningful changes. I just don't buy it. I mean, we've seen this same story now for years where the Phillies sit there and say, can I predict for you what we're going to hear at 11 o'clock today? 11 o'clock when we go to the press conference, Dave Dombrowski's going to say we were right there. We won 96 games. We're one of the best teams in baseball. We believe in our core. We're this close. Sometimes in baseball, he's going to mention the format, which now obviously you have to win more rounds than it used to be. 30, 40 years ago, in the addition of the wild card 30 years ago, things have changed, right? Some teams have to win 4 rounds. The Phillies had to win 3 this year. It's one of those things where it's a small sample tournament. He's going to use all these cliches, and October is a crapshoot, all that stuff. I could hear it, and they're going to run the same thing back, and they're going to expect us to believe they're going to get over the hump this time. I know that's going to happen. I don't like it. 215-592-9494. Do you expect the Phillies to make meaningful changes this offseason? We will air Dombrowski at Top. We're talking coming up at 11 o'clock. Kyle, what are you feeling as today we hear from the team president and the manager?
Well, you heard me yesterday.
Well, yes.
I guess just zeroing in on the roster, I don't think this is a fish rotting at the head situation in terms of like how everyone's like, oh, the bats choked again and the big money guys just don't show up. Like, I don't view this series in that way, and I don't think the Phillies are going to either. Like, I expect them to bring Kyle Schwarber back. I don't expect Bryce Harper, Trey Turner to be moved like, some have suggested. I expect them to probably try and bring JT Realmuto back. We'll see about Rangers, stuff like that. I think the changes are going to come to maybe get 1 or 2 more guys in the outfield. They're probably going to sell us on Justin Crawford's going to come up next year. Maybe Aiden Miller, definitely Andrew Painter. So they're going to, try to sell that they're a little bit deeper there, and they will be. And then I think they're probably going to add 1, 2, maybe a third bullpen piece just to sort of bridge the gap between some of those other guys and Joan Duran. And look, I got to tell you, I'm not going to freak out if that's the case.
Here we go.
I'm not going to freak out if they somewhat run it back, because I really do think they were right there. And I think if they tell us we were this close to winning that series, I think they're right. Like, I'm sorry, they just were. Like, every one of those games that we played against the Dodgers, besides the one we kicked their ass, was a coin flip. And the Dodgers won that series in all 3 games by 4 combined runs. And 3 of them came off of bad errors by us. Like, that was a series that was right there for us to take. And am I upset that they didn't take it? Of course I am. But, like, I don't view this as like it starts at the top and the guys just don't show up and they need to make significant changes to that core of players just because they're not good enough. I do still believe they're good enough. I think if they deepen this thing a little bit, then I can live with that.
215-592-94. I just hope they're not delusional about it. I mean, what Kyle said is not wrong, but there's 2 elements to this. One, can we expect the same production as these guys get older? Running it back means these guys get a year older, right? And no one gets younger. Is Kyle Schwarber, and I want him back, but is he going to have the same season he just had? I don't know. Probably never again. That was a career year. Bryce Harper gets less durable by the year, it feels like.
Yeah.
Trey Turner just had a bounce-back season. Is he ever going to do that again, both offensively and defensively, as he goes deeper in the 30s? I doubt it. And then, Kyle mentioned the young guys. I'm sure they're going to come up today. If I got to have one more year of Dave Dombrowski, is anyone going to ask, like, are we serious with just counting on Andrew Painter? 3 straight years they've told me Andrew Painter's going to contribute.
Yeah, that kind of bothers you.
Of course it bothers me, because they have built him out to be the next Steve Carlton or the next Justin Verlander. He hasn't thrown a pitch in the majors. And all 3 years they have counted on it. Instead of being proactive about the roster, well, we got Andrew Painter coming. Are they going to do this again? If they let Ranger walk in a month, and their thing is, well, Andrew Painter's ready for the rotation. Well, okay. You told me that this year he'd be here in July. You told me the year before he could come back. The year before that, he was going to contribute. They keep betting on a kid that hasn't made the majors yet.